Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coin Lady channel. I will be covering a wide range of issues. Coinbase held around 4 billion XRP when the SEC sued Ripple, prompting the exchange to delist the cryptocurrency. Since I find the whole thing so genuinely interesting, I'll tell you that this was the result of some calculations made by a Ripple employee based on a separate announcement. Plus, there's today's headline that you've written. Top attorneys highlights shake as he digests the Supreme Court's devastating defeat. Yeah, you heard right. Recently, SEC has been struggling. I'm telling you, I really hope it doesn't come to this. However, if the SEC's argument against the Ripple protocol makes it all the way to the Supreme Court, the SEC will be defeated. That appears to be an absolute certainty. I have more faith in it happening than I do in Judge Torres of the District Court issuing a judgment in favor of XRP holders. And in that, too, I have complete faith. To be clear, I am, but given the present makeup of the Supreme Court, I feel much more certain if it makes it there. That's right, the SEC would suffer as a result. They keep attempting this as well. It's as though they are completely out of whack. The Supreme Court has ruled against them time and time again, and they just keep losing. After learning that these jurists aren't perfect, I checked up on the market and heard some other news. Staying around will be a lot of fun, so fasten your seatbelts. But before we part ways for good, let me state unequivocally that I have zero backing, either legal or financial. I'm not qualified to give you financial or legal counsel. And you should not make any financial decisions based on what I write or say. Just a hobbyist here that occasionally posts films to YouTube on various crypto-related topics. Okay, so where did the 4 billion XRP in circulation originate from, and where did the Coinbase come from? This is where things got rolling, at any rate. As most of you probably know by now, Coinbase has only recently started airdropping Flare tokens, despite the fact that Flare was first released in January. It's unacceptable that it took them several months to do so. However, they succeeded in the end. As of the time this was recorded, almost 15 hours had passed since they tweeted that the airdrop had concluded. That's a nice thing. I'm glad to have seen that, and Coinbase has tweeted that trading for Flare will begin on or after 10 am Pacific time today, April 14. If liquidity conditions are met, outbound transfers will be re-enabled shortly after trading begins. This means that over 601 million Flare tokens have been distributed to eligible users. So, basically, and I'll show you in a second, the amount of XRP held was calculated backwards from the amount of Flare that was handed out. I won't go into my personal perspective and analysis of Flare in this video, but I will say that what we saw a month ago after the first Flare drop, so there's an airdrop in January, is what we can expect to see again in February. The first one happened a month ago, and there will be one every month for the next 36 months. A few days prior to the first Flare drop, the market price of Flare plummeted since investors had anticipated the price would plummet upon the first Flare drop and had begun trying to liquidate their investments at that point. But then everyone did that, and when the Flare drop happened, the price didn't plummet. Instead, it went up quite a little. From a low of 2.4 cents to a high of 4 cents is a pretty significant % rise. The decrease they were anticipating never materialized, however, because everyone who wanted to sell did so several days in advance. In any case, the price of Flare leading up to this didn't drop like it did for the first Flare job, so maybe people learned their lesson. However, tomorrow we have the second Flare drop, and it will occur on April 16 at 7 am Central Standard Time, so that's going to be interesting. Perhaps the current makeup is different as well, since you need to be physically holding a Flare token for it to be dropped to you. After the second Flare falls, I'm curious if folks will decide to sell. I'm not sure, so I don't feel very confident in making an estimate at this point. But if I had to guess, I'd say there isn't much of a chance of rain at all. Actually, everyone knows this. There will be a decline. In all candor, it has probably already begun. So, if there is one, and there is a chance that there is, I will likely make a lot more purchases. Even if there is no decline, I expect to buy some more. And then, since I find it so intriguing, like folks are missing out, I might simply keep dollar cost averaging into it. I mean, I get it, people are skeptical of tokenomics. That's why I'm collecting more information. I need to study human nature. But thus far, I haven't witnessed this man's huge panic. Simply dumping sales that have been expected for some time. That's because, to repeat, you need to hold the coins before you can sell them, which means you're probably like me and investing for the long haul. That brings up an interesting point that perhaps isn't getting enough attention. However, Neil Hardner retweeted the information I shared with you from Coinbase regarding the exchange's holdings. The Ripple team includes Neil Hardner. Get liquidity is a focus of his current efforts. According to his LinkedIn profile, he's a senior software engineer at Ripple, where he focuses on cross-border payments and on-demand liquidity. That's why he thought it was worth noting. If true, it would indicate that 4 billion XRP were being stored on Coinbase. During the instant the flare was captured. About 8.8%. Relative to the total amount of XRP in circulation. Coinbase hosted the event. The significance of Coinbase at the time. Significant was D's subsequent listing a month later. Consequently, I was unaware of that fact. I assume there are several wallets that are generally understood, Coinbase being the most obvious example, but could anyone claim for sure that we know them all? Actually, I doubt it. Not that I'm aware of. If I'm wrong about that, that's great by me. If that's the case, I haven't heard of it. To perform the maths backwards, he apparently figured it out. To calculate your share, simply multiply the number of XRP you own by 1.15, which is 15% of the total number of XRP in circulation on the snapshot date. A huge amount of XRP, really? That is a monstrous size. It's fascinating to realize that at one point XRP was worth almost $4. I'm intrigued to see how this pans out given that it reached its all-time high half a decade ago, when Coinbase didn't provide XRP. Once XRP gets relisted again, which I believe is highly likely at this point. Not necessarily, but I think it's quite likely, and it'll be fascinating to see what develops as more people are able to take part. There are a lot more people getting into crypto now, and XRP is about to be the only one with any kind of clarity, so this is going to be an exciting time. I'm just saying that there were a lot fewer people in crypto over the past half a decade, and it still ran up to $4. I'm curious as to your predictions. There are a lot of good arguments for me to be an XRP bull. And now this, a key lawyer for the SEC is speaking out about the agency's recent setback in the Supreme Court, and it came from you today. Ripples. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's recent string of 5 losses in the Supreme Court was already recognized by the Guardian of General Counsel. The case Securities and Exchange Commission v. Shell Cochran, which he mentioned in his tweet, was decided on April 14 and dealt with the question of whether or not federal district courts have jurisdiction to hear challenges to unconstitutional aspects of federal agencies, administrative proceedings, and a unanimous ruling. In a rare unanimous decision, the Supreme Court ruled that Texas accountant Michelle Cochran could sue to overturn the removal of her administrative law judges in federal court before facing administrative adjudication. A unanimous decision by the Supreme Court is not common, at least not in this country, but in this case, every single justice bitmaced the SEC for doing what they should have done in the first place. What we have here is very remarkable. That the SEC has gotten this far out of hand is, in my opinion, demonstrated here. These jerks have such inflated senses of self-importance that they believe they can get away with anything. Since they are undoubtedly spouting all kinds of douchey stuff in their little douchey SEC echo chamber in the office, they might start to believe their own nonsense and hang out by the water cooler like little bitches. But when you get out into the real world and end up in court, you end up getting your smack on from your little bitch. It is what it is. The following was already posted on Twitter by Stuart on February 20. Because of those few who had the guts and means to stand up to the SEC's bullying and clinging to stretch legal positions that were not faithful to the law, the SEC has lost 4 of its last 5 cases before the Supreme Court, including this one, which he penned. And now you have this, the most recent revision. From April 14 on, once more. After winning their first 2 lawsuits in the Supreme Court, the SEC has lost 5 of their past 6 cases, as reported by Stuart Otter. It's Cochran vs the SEC. Absolutely adore it. You may call me Joe Replica when it comes to the Southeastern Conference. is telling you that the current Supreme Court's political makeup the McCart means that they will not tolerate jurisdictional land grabs when there is government overreach. Listen, I'm not trying to become political here. I'm not going to delve into the politics since this is not a political channel. I'm just telling you that those is healthy for you. That's not why I'm making this statement. I'm just suggesting that the current state of the Supreme Court is fantastic news for everyone who owns XRP. Absolutely correct. Indeed, that is the case. If this happens, the SEC will take a lot of heat. Now in today's Daily Huddle, we learn that Twitter has teamed up with the trading platform eToro to provide cryptocurrency and stock market education. And I figured I'd throw this out there as a quick blip. I tweeted about this when the news about it broke the other day, but I thought I should probably mention it on the channel as well. Seems like a great time is upon us. It's known as bull territory for a reason. Do any of your pals know about this? What do you know about this rumored bull territory? And this kind of massively scalable usability is especially important when you're opening up crypto marketplaces. This kind of thing has an infinitely good effect. Because you folks it'll be the same thing as if there were a spot Bitcoin ETF available on, say, Nasdaq or the New York Stock Exchange. You know, people have heard about crypto, and even if they are not that against it, maybe they haven't waded into it or set up an account at this weird little crypto exchange. People who don't particularly dislike cryptocurrencies might be put off by the prospect of massive exposure if the New York Stock Exchange were to list a Bitcoin spot ETF. That it's not hard to find. Since I am already logged in and using my preferred shopping site, I can make the purchase immediately. In any case, parallel concept to that of eToro. From what I can tell, then, Twitter serves primarily as a gateway to eToro. This certainly simplifies matters more than they otherwise would have been. Since we're venturing into uncharted waters, it's just something else to consider. Then there's the investor who predicted the crypto crash of 2022. However, bottom does not rule out the possibility of a new Bitcoin low. A crypto expert who called the 2022 Bitcoin bottom argues the king of cryptocurrencies is safe from further bear market lows. Bitcoin's current value of $30,202 and its risk-reward investment ratio are unsatisfactory, an anonymous crypto trader named Dawn Alt tells his 476,400 Twitter followers. We'll take a look, and while I'm not very interested in Bitcoin, I will advise that you should. There's already too much money in Bitcoin for me to be interested in buying more of it, and I know that the real riches are to be found in altcoins at this point. Don't get me wrong, I still think it's a good thing that so much more money will be invested now. Therefore, I will maintain my position because I value variety. But the alternative coins are where the money is at. It doesn't take as much money because there's so little in there to generate this huge multiplier effect. Here is the quotation, which seems straightforward enough. I don't see us dropping to new lows, but I also don't see much upside between the current level of approximately $32,000 and the upper range of about $60,000. Therefore, the best time to buy is right around the bear market line. That being said, the big question is, will it actually happen? It really is a terrific time, no doubt about it. That's exactly right. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the market bottom is within my head. With that said, no matter the market cycle, I'm certain to have this little. If a black swan happens, it happens. If it does, you can hit rock bottom. Aside from that, though, no, the low is in you can see it if you look at on-chain metrics, attitudes towards your messaging communicated via social media, technical analysis. We look at everything you want to look at. The bottom has officially been reached. And yes, I say that with a great deal of confidence. I don't mean precisely 100%, but even if it swings to the downside and we see a new bottom, which I very much doubt, the probability is still very small. So, okay, you make a good point. I shouldn't use absolutes while talking about this if I want to be precise. I know, I'm getting a little carried away here, but hear me out, it's highly unlikely that we'll see something like that anytime soon. Consequently, I'm in a pleasant mood. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to wrap up now. I don't offer financial advice because I'm not a professional in that field. Nothing I say should influence your buying or selling decisions. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you in the next one. Bye.